Why, hello there. I may be dressed like a gay witch doctor, but I have a good reason. Tonight, I am going to be telling you guys some of my paranormal experiences. I have been through the ringer. I remember being like 4 years old and seeing a full apparition in my living room. I was screaming, I woke up my mom, but that was just the start. We're not even talking about that today. We're talking about the very real hauntings that I have experienced. I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm nervous because it's dark in here besides this light, so I'm terrified. I have experienced some very scary stuff. I was in high school. I believed that there was a ghost that lived in my house. I used to live in the basement of a like 3-story townhouse thing. Apparently these apartments had a fire like 10 years before we moved there. So I always thought that was suspicious because people would always tell me that we lived in the apartment that there was a fire in. I didn't think much of it until shit got scary. This ghost was pissed. I'm not gonna say what I thought her name was because I don't want to invite her back. I'm trying to avoid even thinking about what her name was, but this experience was very, very terrifying for me. I was producing a lot of negative energy myself, let me just put that out there. I was very depressed, I was self-harming, it was not a happy time in my life. But during this time, I was also experiencing this paranormal phenomenon. In a way, experiencing this paranormal phenomenon kind of brought me out of that depression because it made me focus on something that was bigger than just myself. The first incident was when I came home from school. It was a long day. I walked down the stairs and through the hallway that went to my bedroom. And when I got to my bedroom, for some reason I didn't close my door, which doesn't usually happen when you're a 16-year-old. You usually close your door, but I didn't. And I sat on my bed and then I just looked out into the hallway. And when I looked into the hallway, the light fixture on the ceiling fell down. Light fixture on the ceiling fell down and crashed in the hallway. I was terrified. I just watched this thing fall from the ceiling where I was standing seconds ago. So if that wasn't scary enough, around this time I started seeing things in the corner of my eye. I would see something when I looked in the mirror, I would see something walk down the hallway. I was generally spooked out. I don't know if this is relevant, but I had recently gotten Jasper. And as you know, Jasper's a pretty docile cat, but when I first got him, he was kind of running around, going up and down the stairs. He was terrified. He did not like that house, and he acted like he was playing with something. Like, how fast? You've seen Jasper. He is a very large cat. He is a very lazy cat. He would run up and down 3 flights of stairs because something was terrorizing him. One night, I woke up and I had scratches on my calves. Now, this didn't seem alarming. I thought, okay, maybe Jasper just scratched me on accident. Can I just say, when I looked at these scratches, it was one long scratch and one scratch that was shorter across. It was a cross. There was a cross scratched into my calf. This happened. I wish this was clickbait. I wish this was a lie. This was real. This was my reality at like 16 years old. I'm normal. Same house, less than a week later. I'm sitting on my bed, staring at the door again for some reason. This happened a lot in this house. I don't know what that means. And all of a sudden I see a mirror on my wall just fall into a million pieces all over my floor. I was terrified. Stuff would happen literally all the time. All the time. Eventually, I just stopped thinking about it. I tried to move on. We moved out of the house. I moved into my own apartment. And then I moved in with some friends. And that's when things got really scary. I lived in a haunted house, and this is my story. That was so dramatic. So there were two friends involved in this story. Let's call them Ashley and Bailey. Ashley was the one who invited me to live in this house in the first place. Her stepdad owned it and it was foreclosed, but he had previously owned it so we could stay there until the bank came. I was very creeped out about the whole process of it all, but the rent was cheap and it was a place to live, so who cares? So first me and Ashley moved into this house together. We were pretty excited, but I was pretty creeped out. And I'm pretty sure Ashley was creeped out as well, but she would never admit it. She moved in her boyfriend the very first night. Don't even get me started. That's another story for a different day. I think that she moved in her boyfriend because she was scared and she didn't want to admit it. Just saying. A few months go by. I'm getting kind of used to the random creaks of the house. I would hear like scratches from raccoons underneath the house. I would hear kind of yelling at night, but I just assumed that was Ashley. It was a creepy vibe to the house, but nothing was too intense, I would say. Around this time, Bailey moved in. I was really excited for Bailey to move in because Ashley was hanging out with her boyfriend all the time, and I didn't have anybody to hang out with. I was in a new city. I didn't know anybody there, so Bailey moving in was a blessing. But then we dealt with the curse. Bailey and I had always been very into the paranormal. We would do things like use pendulums to talk to ghosts. We would have spirit sessions and use crystals and tarot cards and all sorts of fun things just to occupy our time. When Bailey moved in, she instantly pointed out the feeling of the house, and we bonded over how utterly terrifying it was. And she talked about how scary it was. I knew that I wasn't insane because for months I had thought that I had been imagining all of this because Ashley didn't want to acknowledge it. We had an alarm that was on our front door that would beep when somebody came or left the house, and it would go off all the time for no reason. Nobody would be coming inside. I would be in the shower and I would think, oh, Ashley's home or Bailey's home. And I would go out of the bathroom and see that nobody was there. The alarm just went off like somebody came home. Our freezer would shoot out ice cubes. And it wasn't regular, it wasn't just a broken freezer. It would be like talking about how haunted the house was and what we were gonna do. And all of a sudden the freezer would shoot out like 3 ice cubes. Bitch, what? We had a Rottweiler protection dog. Long story. This dog would bark at the house in the middle of the night every single night. At first I thought there was something wrong with the dog, but he would only bark when like people would come up to the house. So I didn't understand why he was barking in the middle of the night at nothing. Nothing. So I believe it was Halloween, and me and Bailey decided that we wanted to do a seance. He thought that whatever was in the house just needed someone to talk to and kind of guide it out of the house. That was not the case. Whatever was in the house got very angry that we were talking to it, and things quickly escalated. Whoever we talked to immediately kept saying no, and I thought that was very suspicious. It also immediately said goodbye. So we're not off to a great start. Then the candle blew out. Bitch. So much weird stuff started happening after that. I would hear footsteps going up and down the hallway. Lights would go off. My phone would fly off of my bed. Crazy weird shit. The TV would turn on in the middle of the night. You would hear the alarm all the time. And things really escalated when we found footprints in the bathroom. There were footprints that didn't look like dog footprints, didn't look like our footprints, were too big to be raccoon footprints. I wish I had pictures to show you, but they were like, I don't know. They were really big and really scary. It was too good to be true. Like, I felt like I was in a haunted, like, prank show. Yeah. I started having really weird dreams. I would have terrible nightmares. I would hear screaming. I would hear people like whispering, people talking to me. It was so scary all the time. After that house, I ended up becoming homeless, and it became like a curse for me. It was not a fun time. I wish there was like a positive resolution to this story, but the house kind of tore apart my friendship with all of those people in it. Me and Ashley stopped talking immediately after I moved out. Me and Bailey stopped talking soon after. And it was like this terrifying experience that we all went through kind of tore our friendship apart, and a lot of other things, but that was one of the reasons. So that was some of my paranormal experiences. Not all of them, of course. I have to have some secrets, but that was a few of the best ones and the most traumatizing ones. I hope you guys enjoyed this weird video. I hope you guys got a little spooked. Leave a comment below, tell me some of your spooky stories, or if you've ever dealt with a haunting. I forgot to mention that I got ordained just to deal with this haunting, but that, I'm not gonna put that in. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and remember to always stay golden.